Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. We're going to be talking about how to transition from appointment setter to high ticket closer. Now, this was actually a content idea suggestion from my art of appointment setting community in school, which you can go check out in the link below. It's basically our $50 per month community where we help people get placed, people who are completely starting out, find their feet in the appointment setting, this new opportunity. And they get weekly calls with me every Saturday, 9 p.m. Philippine time. So this is one of the content ideas that someone came up with, so I'll act on it. So first thing is through the same offer. So there's two ways you can transition, right? It's not that complicated, but the first way is through the same offer. So let's say you've been performing well consistently on an offer. If you've been performing consistently well on an offer, you've stuck with them for a couple months, you're doing well, you're putting them money, you're making commission as well, and there's a path to becoming a closer. And some ways you'll know about this is if you obviously ask the offer owner, like just straight up ask them, otherwise you won't know. Or if, people on their team in the past, let's say they have setters in the past who have become closers, you can pretty much tell from them that there is a path to closing too. So there are some ways you can know, and the offer will upgrade you to one. They'll upgrade you to becoming a high ticket closer if you've been performing well consistently. Sometimes they'll just ask you, hey, you want to start closing deals? And then you just say yes. So it's pretty simple. So first few calls to start with, they'll see how you perform. Obviously this is it's kind of like a trial period. It's kind of to see how well you perform, and then make any tweaks and feed you more calls until you're comfortable. So it's just, you'll start with your first few calls, see how that goes, get better, do some training, etc. And then when you're ready, you'll get more calls, and then you'll get to the point where you're transitioning full time into high ticket closing. Now, I know from some people in that trial period, in that transition phase, they're having to do setting and closing at the same time. So they have the responsibilities of both a setter, handling DMs, replying to them, follow-ups, etc., doing confirmations, plus taking some calls on their calendar. And then obviously, that's a lot more responsibility. You should be welcoming that though. It's not supposed to be easy sometimes, and it's just going to be a transition phase. Okay, so it's not going to last forever. Now, the second way that I've seen is through a different offer. So if there's no path to becoming a closer on the current offer, like I said, you'll know if there's a path or not. You simply just ask them, or if setters on their team, if they have setters already, or you can ask the closers on their team if they started off as setters, and then you can kind of gauge it from there. But if for whatever reason there's no path to becoming a closer on the current offer that you're on, but you've still generated good results for your existing offer, so the key is to have actually been on a good offer and generate good results. Otherwise it's going to be a bit harder you're going to be starting from zero again basically if you don't have any results. If you don't have any receipts, why should they hire you from the next person who does have experience, or the next person, or what makes you stand out from the next person who is just getting into the game, right? So the key is to get good results, have receipts, etc. Then start looking for a closer position and leverage the experience / results, so they're more likely to hire you. So those are two ways you can make the transition. Pretty simple. And then some tips and tricks. Pretty much, first trick is, before you transition, it's good to practice a few sales calls via a few mock calls, taking some training, etc. There's a lot of people out there who teach sales training nowadays, so you have to be somewhat prepared, because once you transition, again, it's kind of be like this, where you take your first few calls to start. They're going to see how you perform, and then you're going to iterate, you're going to tweak, you're going to watch your call recordings, you're going to move on to the next calls, knowing what to do better. But you got to practice a little bit. However, there's a fine line, and this is what I see a lot of newbies, a lot of people fall into the trap of doing, is they overthink it or they over-prepare. The best way at the end of the day to learn a skill, best way to get better at sales is through actually getting in the trenches, getting your reps in, and being confident. So, you can only do so much, courses, you can only read so much books, you can only do so much of this self-education. But if you never actually, if you're stuck here, for example, the rose analogy, where this guy was stuck in a house, there's no wind, he never was let out of the house, it's like wooden house, and he had a book with him, and the book talks about roses, and it talks about how a rose smells, how it feels, what it looks like. some more information about the rose. And he's learning all about this rose, and one day he hopes he gets out of the house to experience the rose and touch it and, you know, smell it. But he never does. Who do you think will learn more about the rose? Who do you think will know more about the rose itself? Is it that guy who's stuck in the wooden house, learning about the rose through books? Or is it the person who actually just steps outside of the house and there's a rose outside and he touches it, he smells it himself, and he experiences the rose in its fullest? Obviously, it's the second person, okay? So there's only so much learning and reading you can do about sales. But the best way you're going to learn is just by throwing yourself in the deep end, being okay with sucking in the beginning, no diddy, getting your reps in, being confident, getting used to rejection, because this stuff is going to carry you down the line when you do start your own thing, you start your own business. Like, this is just stuff you have to get used to. It's going to hurt in the beginning, but sales is a beautiful thing. So don't overthink it, don't over prepare. You're going to get in the trenches anyway, so you may as well like start sooner than later, okay? And then the last tip I have for you, starting off as a setter, is going, and this is an opinion, feel free to disagree, but a lot of actually like high-level salespeople, a lot of like high-level people in this space, they agree with this, is starting off as a setter, then going to closing is better than going straight to closing, for a couple of reasons. Because A, you'll pick up the skills prior that will help you when you're closing. So when you start off as a setter, you're going to pick up already on human psychology. You're going to know about pain, about desire, about creating the gap from the current to desired situation. You're going to learn about building rapport. You're going to learn about holding frame. You're going to learn about appointment. You're going to learn about objection handling. You're going to learn all these things. You're going to learn. It's like a trial period. It's like a warm-up session before you actually start selling. So that's the first thing why. And the second thing why is you'll take each prospect more seriously, knowing the amount of work it took to book that lead on the calendar. So when sometimes some closes are entitled, not all, but some closes are entitled, especially back in the day, where they will get calls on the calendar. Let's say they have 3 to 5 calls on the calendar, but they won't take it 100% seriously. So they may have, because of that, it translates into the performance, it translates into their sales process, how they show up on those calls. And then a couple calls, like, it might not seem like a big deal in the beginning, but it adds up. One lost client turns into 2 lost clients, like prospects that could have been closed, and that's commission. That's wasted commission for everyone, both you as a closer and the setter. So when people start off as setters, though, it's quite a humbling experience, especially if they're starting from no experience, from zero. If they start off on the cold outbound offers and then they work their way up, it's like once you become a closer, it's like you actually take each and every lead seriously, provided that it's been qualified properly or somewhat qualified. You take each and every prospect more seriously. That way you're gonna show up better on the calls. That way you're gonna have a higher closing rate, and that way everyone's gonna make more commission. Everyone's gonna be happier, all right? Because you know the work that it took when you were back in your setting days trying to book in that guy or that girl or whoever books in on that calendar. Those 3 to 5 calls aren't just 3 to 5 calls. It's like 3 to 5 chances and 3 to 5 chances to show up as 100% to close those deals, all right? So you know the amount of work it took to book that lead in on the calendar, therefore you're going to show up better and you're going to print more money, okay? So that's some tips. Those are 2 ways to transition from appointment setter to high to closer. Shout out the guy inside the community who came up with this idea. It's a very good idea, good content idea. And yeah, guys, this actually marks the last day of the 30-day content challenge. If you guys don't know, I was posting content for 30 days in a row, and this is the last day. This is video 30. I can make a video about the results that it's gotten me. I mean, I kind of did it on the vlog, which is going to come out after this, which is I'm looking forward to. But yeah, guys, day 30, we are done with the daily uploads. I might still do daily uploads. I'm not sure though, because I'm trying to think about my next steps for content, how to reposition, how to redirect it. I'm thinking more on bringing the quality up and lowering the quality. I mean, lowering the quantity, but bring the quality up. Okay, so just gonna see how it goes for the future after this. But anyways, I hope we ended off this content challenge with a bang. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you need any more help. Just hit me up on Instagram, on Twitter. Links in the description to join the group up here. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.